Hello and welcome to another thought for the day. I've still got my hair, so I haven't resorted to shaving it off just yet. For today's thought for the day, I thought I would think about the wee jobs around the house that we're maybe getting a bit more time to do. Unless you're one of our key workers who are still out there busting a gut, putting in all the hard work, you maybe have found yourself with some more free time. Maybe you have a list of jobs that you've been meaning to do for a while, or a list of jobs that somebody else has been meaning for you to do for a while. And now maybe is a good time to do it. You have a bit more time about the house. I want to share a couple of jobs that I've been putting off, that I've tried to do during this time when I'm not out and about quite so much. The first was we bought some security lights for our house about, 3 months ago. And they sat and they sat and they sat. So the other day I bit the bullet and I thought, right, I'm going to put these lights up. I already had a drill and a screwdriver, and the roll plugs came with it and the screws came with it, so everything was there, and I was able to get on with it, do my thing and put them up. Very little issue, and thought, well, I could have done that sooner, but I'm glad I've done it now. The next thing, which maybe a few other people are in the same boat, was the grass needs cut. I don't know about your lawn, how well kept it is. Ours isn't all that well kept. Ours is a little bit like a jungle at the minute. And part of the reason is because we don't actually have a lawnmower. And that was fine before the lock-in, and last summer we just used to borrow Ruth's mum and dad's every week or so, and we cut the grass and then leave it back, and that was fine. But in lockdown that has become a little bit more tricky. So we thought the other day, right, we'll bite the bullet, we'll have to buy our lawnmower, but we need somewhere to keep the lawnmower, so we'll have to buy a shed too. And again, pre-lockdown that would have been quite easy, but now not so much. You see, for us to put up our shed, we would really need to prepare the ground in the garden, and it's not so easy to get the building materials that we would need. And I don't know if I would really have the skills to do it, so we might need to get somebody in to kind of level the ground and put the slabs down and put a base down, and then we could put the shed up, and then we could buy the lawnmower, and then I could cut the grass. You see, it's not quite so simple anymore. Whereas had we a year ago when we moved in bought a shed and a lawnmower, we could have had the most luscious grass, well kept, and we could have been looking at a lovely garden. You see, sometimes there's a good time to do things. There's a right time to do things. But now we're stuck because we didn't do it. The good time has passed. And maybe there's wee jobs around your house that are a bit like that too. And actually you've left them for so long that it's just kind of become the norm. Ruth was telling me a story that she had heard previously about a family who had a guest come and stay with them. And they came down in the morning to make their cereal, and they went to get a spoon from the drawer, and the drawer wouldn't open. And the family said, oh, don't worry about that, there's a wee bit of a knack to that, you need to pull it slightly to the right before you pull it up and then pull it out. And the person said, well, why don't you just fix it if it's that complicated to open the drawer? And he said, well, we're used to it now, we don't need to. There's maybe wee things in your house that are a bit like that too. Our front door, for example, it's great when it works. It closes, it opens, but when you want to lock it, as well as pushing the handle up, you kind of have to put your shoulder into it a little bit as well. And it's been like that for a while, and initially I had contacted the builders and said, is there any way we could get that fixed? But now it's just what we do. That's just how we close the door and lock it. We pull the handle up and we put our shoulder in at just the right time, and it's closed. You see, when we put stuff off, or we just get used to doing things a certain way, it becomes almost like a bad habit. The right time has passed and we just forget about it. And sometimes we run the risk of becoming a bit like that with God. Maybe before lockdown we were just in the routine of going to church every Sunday, or going to whatever organisation it is we go to, and we're just used to it. We're just ticking the box and we're just ticking over, and that's just what we do. But maybe now's a good time to stop and take stock of where you are with God. Last week we read Isaiah And we're going to read from Isaiah again. And just as I said in the previous video, I really encourage you to go and read the whole chapter. I'm just going to read chapter 55 verse 6, but I would encourage you to go and read around it and get the full context of it. And basically God is saying to the people in Judah that he is showing his compassion and he's welcoming them in. The verse 6 says, "Seek the Lord while he may be found, call upon him while he is near." And just like God has offered his compassion to the people in Judah, he's offering his compassion to us. And now we know that for us that is through Jesus, through his Son and the sacrifice that he has made. But just like those jobs around the house that we've been meaning to do and putting off, God's offer comes with a limited time. You see, someday Jesus will return, and by that point it will be too late. And Jesus said that himself. If we look at Luke chapter 13, verse 25, we read these words: "When once the master of the house has risen and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and to knock at the door, saying, 'Lord, open to us,' then he will answer you, 'I do not know where you come from.'" God is offering his compassion to you now. God is saying, "I love you. I have sent my Son for you. I want to forgive you. You just need to ask." And so my encouragement for you today is to stop, take stock of where you are, and if you need to, ask for forgiveness. Come to Jesus. Now is the right time. Seek the Lord while he might be found, and come into his compassionate arms today.